Hello, welcome back for the session. I hope everyone is doing well. Those different centers and study groups and the members and students, usually when I go for tour, we have a face-to-face interaction. All of you, daily in my heart, in particularly for the past 5-6 months, once this pandemic, came into existence. Even though didn't, get ways to have a conversation to check it out, you're all right or not, individually, but every day that you all are in my concern, and so all of you are in my daily thoughts and prayers, and especially to those, our last meeting is some of you have some health issues. I especially, concerned to all of you very much, and so just letting you all know that all of you are like very much like in my daily merit field, like Guru Puja merit field. You all are like my the picture of you. I as you know that I have trouble of remembering so many names, but once I have seen your face, whether you slim down, whether you put on weight, whether you get older, I hardly forget. So the first impression, the picture of you is always in my heart, and I daily imagine them, visualize them like a merit field, and try to dedicate, little practices that I do. If there are any merits from that, I dedicate for your health, for your happiness, like that. So my belief, my strong belief that in particularly when things are difficult environmentally or individually, in particularly when someone is having health issues, I think that's the most important time, for us to be there for each other. So this is the, I think, essence of the Dharma practice, and this is the essence of the what we try to achieve, through learning Dharma, or just simply as a to be a better person. I think this is one of the most important thing. Whether even from the Buddhist practitioner's point of view, whether you're pursuing self-liberation or pursuing, full enlightenment for the benefit of numberless sentient beings, the very much progress in our practices, in our path happens when we, share our time, our in particularly, our pure heart of love, kindness, care, prayers, and if there's opportunity, in action, helping, starting from those people because of the special karmic connection, then that expand to rest of the sentient being, and in particularly, and those who are in trouble, you see. So, yeah. So this is what I understood from the Dharma, and this is what I believe, and this is just try to practice. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. So yeah, just want to let you know that, especially those who are staying alone, those who are staying far from people, those who are staying far from center, just keep in mind that you are not alone. Of course, our gurus and Buddhas, their compassion, love, care, prayers prevails on all of us. But even one ordinary person like me, thinking of you, in everyday basis, and sending thoughts and prayers. Okay. Yes. Okay. So as usual, we start the session. Taking refuge, refresh your refuge practice in order for us to make, this very effort of yours for this 1.5 hour time to be a spiritual practice, to be a dharma practice, to be the cause of enlightenment, to be dharma. For that, the refuge, establishing refuge as a basis for that is the most important thing. And then after that, setting the altruistic motivation in order to make your effort to be the cause of full enlightenment for the benefit of numberless sentient being. And that is required. Otherwise, your precious time, there's a danger of being a minimal benefit. You see. So anyway, we have to spend time for this session. Why not that we make it, for the greatest cause, for the maximum benefit, and that very much taken care by the refuge practice and the bodhichitta motivation. Okay, so take a few moments to refresh the refuge practice that you already have. And if in case there are anyone that who never received refuge vows, then just simply feel the presence of all the divine beings and all the enlightened beings, all the compassionate beings, the Buddha Bodhisattvas, and that you are simply, blessed by them, nurtured by them. Sanje Chodan Zoji Zonam La Janju Badu Dane Jasu Chindake Jinso Jebe Sonam Jindola Penje Sanje Chubasha Sanje Chodan Janju Badu Dane Jasu Daje Jinso Jebe Sonam Jindola Penje Sanje Lubasha Sanje Chodan Zoji Zonam La Janju Badu Dane Jasu Chindake Jinso Jebe Sonam Jindola Penje Sanje Chubasha. So now take a few moments to generate bodhichitta intention. And if in case there's some individuals who have difficulty to express bodhicitta, the very simple way, you can just think in your heart that whatever the action that I'm going to perform, the actions of, be part of the Dharma discourse, are dedicated or utilized in the same way how the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would do. Or in another word, may every single moment of my time through this discourse be the complete cause of numberless sentient beings. Temporary happiness up to the ultimate happiness of full enlightenment, the cause for that. Semje damje dewa da deve juda debra juja semje damje dunga da dunga juja dawa juja semje damje dunga da be dewa da miro. Semje damje nyere jada ni dan rawe ta nyola nebra juro je semje damje dewa da deve juda debra juja semje damje dunga da dunga juja dawa. Semje damje dunga me be dewa da miro juja semje damje nyere jada ni dan rawe ta nyola nebra. Semje damje dewa da deve juda debra juja semje damje dunga da dunga juja dawa juja semje damje dunga me be dewa da miro. Semje damje nyere jada ni dan rawe ta nyola nebra juro je. Okay, so now take a few moments to do short meditation on Tonglen. So simply breathe lengthy in and out. So when you breathe out, just mentally think of first we breathe in, mentally think that you are taking all the numberless sentient beings sufferings. It is causes the karma and delusion onto your ignorant, self-grasping attitude, self-cherishing attitude, and onto all the delusions. And not only bring about the ceasing of the suffering and it is causes in sentient being, it also bring the benefit of purifying the suffering within oneself, and it is causes the self-cherishing and self-grasping attitude. When you breathe out, simply think that you are giving entire past, present, future accumulation of virtues, practices, happiness, any goodness that you have is very much like entirety of yourself is a wish fulfilling jewel, like a wish granting jewel, and it is in abundance and offer in abundance and fulfill according with the needs of each and every single numberless sentient beings, and they receive in the aspect of fulfillment, virtues, realizations, liberations, enlightenment, like that. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we are still continuing from the sage Chibuchugi Gyaltsen's commentary on the 7-point thought transformation. And right now we are on page 97. And last session we discussed the subsequent period practice in relation to the conventional altruism, bodhichitta, or in particularly the essence of the conventional altruistic practice, which is on the Tonglen practice, taking and giving. And today we're going to go through a very important subject that which is so relevant to to all of us in our day-to-day life as a samsaric being. We are very much like the fact is, the fact of being a samsaric person. There's no freedom from suffering. Even though, while enjoying good health, both mind and body, while things looks pleasant and sound, but the actual fact is we are always, compounded by the pervasive sufferings, which is the very much definition of samsara. As long as we are not purified, the contaminated aggregates, the aggregate that aggregates that the contamination from karma and delusion, the actual fact is that we are always, in suffering. That's the reason why call is samsara. Samsara itself meaning suffering, and that is referring to pervasive suffering. So then even for the suffering of change and the suffering of pain, as being born in such a time that adversities are overwhelming, the distractions are overwhelming, and that is very much the one of the most crucial period within the time of 5D generation. So, in particularly in this era, very much from the many sign of the degenerations of the compounded phenomena, there are sign of the fire, sign of sickness, etc. And this very time is very much like a sign of sickness. I think in one of His Holiness Dalai Lama's the online teaching, I think His Holiness also mentioned something like that. This period is very much like either combine or the combine of the sign of degeneration of fire, which is global warming, and the sign of sickness, which there are so many, different form of sicknesses that comes in our way. So, so therefore, the causes and the conditions, both on the basis of these aggregates, of the both on the basis of the I, the aggregates, and the environment, is very much like a nest of adversities, nest of troublesomes. You see, so and the only cure, the ultimate cure is the purifications of the it is root cause, that which is the self-grasping and self-cherishing. Even while experiencing the definite karmic result of this samsaric body, this samsaric environment, one of the most effective cure, one of the most effective way to ease the adversities, ease the distractions from the adversities, distractions, ease the pain of suffering of change and suffering of suffering, is the practice of mind training, the practice of altruism, the practice of emptiness, and practice of bodhichitta. So have the ability of the mind training wisdom, have the ability to take these adversities and its causes onto the path to enlightenment through the tool of wisdom and method, the bodhicitta and emptiness. That way, the person, while being in the midst of the adversity, can go through the journey of life without the affected by the negativities, in particularly affected by the suffering of pain and suffering of changes. You see, so as for our ordinary mind, the suffering, even though the pervasive suffering is the basis for the suffering of change and suffering of suffering, but most obvious to us, to our ordinary mind, to react as experience of as experience of misery, is the suffering of change and suffering of suffering. You see, you see. So whatever degree it may be, how intensity the circumstances of suffering of change and suffering of pain they may be, even it is just a slight one, it brings immense of disturbances. And that disturbances is not just to feel the pain, that disturbances also have the capability of ruining the ability to actualize antidotes, actualize the antidote towards that. You see, so once we get trapped, or once we are so reactive, so sensitive, so easily get influenced by the suffering and suffering of change, that will bring obstacle to the gathering of antidotes and gathering of virtues and the dharma, which are the tool to get freedom from all the sufferings. You see, so not only intensify the pain, but also it bring obstacle to the finding of the antidote. So as long as we spend more time gathering and the causes and conditions of the negativities, then that's how that it will bring about the determination of endless suffering, endless samsara. You see, so so therefore, the Lojong practice, the mind training practice, taking adversities onto our path is not only will help to ease the suffering and suffering of change, it also help to accumulate the antidote to purify the pervasive suffering, to purify the samsara from the root. So that way, while we go along, while we go through the journey of this, designated life on these samsaric aggregates, by the time that when we purify the basis, the aggregates, when we pass through the transition from the life to death, when we pass through the clear light, we're able to, utilize the whatever amount of the accumulation of altruism as an absolute complete cause for the dharmakaya, absolute cause of, actualizing the absolute freedom from the samsara. So you see, so there are many great advantages taking adversities onto the path. You see, is one of the most effective way to purify the things that we do not wish to experience, and is one of the most powerful tool to accumulate causes and conditions what we wish to achieve, what we wish to experience, which is the liberation. Yeah. So just if you just read through the text, it's so marvelous, so clear, so simple. Just fill in, those adversities that what you are going through. Then the rest of the technique that you just use, whatever is stated in the text, that alone, can be so liberating, like that. So here, whenever, when we talk about adversities, the purifying the adversities or taking adversities onto our path, onto path to enlightenment, that you can do this practice in relation to your own, circumstances. You can also dedicate this cultivation or practice to others, or to rest of the other sentient beings. And in particularly when we are in a better position. In fact, we are really in better position compared to helping hungry ghosts, animals, and while we have this privilege of having the human intelligence, having the dharma, then we can take this practice to heal the suffering of these vulnerable sentient beings and liberate them. And also is, we can apply this practice to help those family members and friends that who are going through either going through immense of suffering or pain, or suffering of changes, or that you can use these techniques rather than overwhelmed by worry. In most cases, either oneself go through challenges, or others, the loved one going through difficult time. Our mind, very much occupied by worry. And that is very much the mind that don't have the tool of training into taking, the adversities on the path, and the worry doesn't help. You see, we have to do something, gather antidotes, and the best way to do that is, you see, beside the the science and clinical the needs, the one to purify the root cause, is the practice. You see, and many, our loved ones, they don't have ability to practice that. Some of them, they haven't even met dharma. Some of them, they don't believe in dharma. Some of them, they even against the dharma. But then when it comes to suffering of pain and suffering of changes, it comes to anybody. So as someone that who know this practice, then if we're able to practice for them in dedication, that way, they also receive the benefit. Yeah. So now is the text. I will read through the text, page 97. Taking adverse condition onto the path of enlightenment. So this is from the 7 point is the third point. The third, taking adverse condition onto the path of enlightenment, is presented by the following line. When the world and its inhabitant boil with negativity, transform adverse condition onto the path of enlightenment. When the world, your own world, just simply about yourself, your the compounded, contaminated aggregates, the mind, the feeling, the compositional factor, the body, so any negativities that comes in its way, like such as sicknesses, physical sicknesses, mental sicknesses, or even the sensually, that when you relate to the object of our senses, all the unpleasant things, all the negative things, when such thing comes in our way, and that is our own, personal world. Then the negative emotions and the arising of negative emotions, such as anger, such as attachment, jealousy, those are negativities that arise in our own inner world. Then the world of one's family, the worlds of one's human community, worlds of the entire the environment, and it is environment and the beings within. So in another way, the world is the environment. Then it is inhabitants, is the rest of the sentient being. So boiled with the negativities, overwhelmed by the negativities, which is, our world is happening that way. Our world, the no question about the rest of the sentient being, who are very much lack of virtue, lack of dharma, lack of positivities. But even those who carry this such a marvelous intelligence, those humans, we majority, completely get distracted by negativities. You see, many of people's life very much invest gathering or fulfilling the negative emotions, the ego, pride, support the mind of jealousy, support the mind of attachment, anger, etc. You see, so much accumulation of negative energy, negative actions, negative karma. Then, as far as concerned with the outer world, so much distractions. Compared to in the past, we obviously know the global warming is so serious. Every single year when the season pass through, we literally can understand the things are not going right. Things are getting drastical. The changes, and that brings inconvenience to the living beings that live within that world, and due to that, then many diseases, many distractions, it comes in our way. So all these negativities transform, transform into the path of enlightenment. Transform into the path of enlightenment. You see, even those of the adverse conditions, conditions that even though that we are not directly affected, but then those are the either direct or indirect conditional causes for the adversity, sufferings that we have to go through. Everything should take onto the path to enlightenment. So you see, so take onto the path. So path is the just make a just bringing about to way of your life the that which become the cause of positive changes for now and for future, until the positive changes that take place as a result of enlightenment. And that is called the path of enlightenment. So in another way, the path is referring to the renunciation, the mind of renunciation is the path. The definition of path is the mind of renunciation. So renounce what? Renounce the suffering, renounce the adversities and its causes and conditions. In another word, renounce the samsara and its causes, karma and delusion. And that attitude, that mind of renunciation is called path. So now, so that renunciation, that path can lead to, three different, there are many stages of destinations, but the three major destinations are the three forms of liberations. Then among that, there's one ultimate destination. No further destination that need to pursue. That is the full enlightenment. Then the three liberations are liberations of hera, liberation of solitary, and liberations of the bodhisattva. Then before that, there are the liberation that one achieve along the five paths. Along the five paths of the training, along the path of the training, like such as the 9 different, the stages of the state of negation that one achieve, along the 10 bhumis. Then not only that, each time that when you enter to the 5 different levels of the path, you also achieve, the degree of liberation. And even before entering into the actual the path of the liberators, we do achieve. The moment we start to transform the adverse conditions with the correct antidote of mind of wisdom and mind of the method, the altruism, even at the ordinary level, before even entering into the actual path, we achieve many different stages of liberations. You see. So one example, the liberation from not get affected by those outer adverse circumstances, because those outer adverse circumstances or your physical health health crisis, taking that as taking that as to develop love, kindness, and compassion, taking that as a development of bodhichitta, or or perceiving them, with the wisdom eye of emptiness. The adversity of physical health condition that comes in our way, understanding that health crisis through the eye of the wisdom of emptiness, and managing it, deal with it. How the emptiness wisdom mind would understand the situation. Just by doing so, even though physically there is a wound, but then your emotion is not affected by the wound, and that itself is a form of liberation. You see, so like that. So I will continue from the text. Whatever harms befall you, whether caused by living beings or caused by natural elements, they are fruit of your own past negative action. So as a Buddhist, as a Buddhist believer, or using common sense, logical sense, every experiences comes by product of cause and condition. You see, so not accepting cause and condition is just simply, against the logical reasoning, against the common sense. You see, so if you just give opportunity to analyze how things exist, is anyone can able to pinpoint. It has to have its causes and conditions to bring about these consequences. You see, so therefore, every experiences is a fruit of our own past negative actions. If, any negative experience, any suffering experience, any adversity that comes in our way, no one to blame out there. It is our own past negative indulgements, negative actions result. So simply having this understanding alone, it itself, is what you call the process of taking the adverse condition onto the path. So whatever harm befall, whether caused by living beings, caused by so-called as an enemy, caused by even like a bite of mosquito, by bite of snakes, etc., and caused by natural elements like earthquake, bushfire, etc. So they are fruit of our own past negative actions. You see, in a very instant, it's like bit difficult to accept that, especially when you are in that position, in that negative circumstances. If someone comes and tells you that, whatever you are going through is your past result of your past negative karma. Can sound like very offensive also. It is almost like a bit difficult to say that, you see. But then the actual fact is, yes, it is one's own karma. During Buddha's time, one of his monks, the Buddha happened to landed in one place. Then whole village, whole entire town, went on fire, burned into fire, and this monk that who was traveling with Buddha, because the fire is so near, it's really up to Buddha's, Buddha's robes, and the other. So this monk thought the best way is to hide within the Buddha's begging bowl. So if we can able to hide in the Buddha's begging bowl, then since it's Buddha's begging bowl, I will not be affected by the fire, But the thing that he didn't understand is that he also has the collective karma, which himself accumulated in the past, also to get affected, being burned by the fire that is happening right there. So therefore, the fire, one fire spark, fly, onto the Buddha's begging bowl, and this monk's was burned, getting burned. So when the karma is created, unless you purify, if you don't purify, then it never perish. It will come in our way, you see. But then if we don't have creation of the karma, then even you are in the middle of this, this burning fire, maybe every other, let's say the homes and properties and things are burned, but then it's nothing happened to something that belongs to you. It can be just one particular home. It can be just your home. The fire reach right in front of your house in door, but then somehow, there's an arrival of timely antidote, or somewhere the fire just goes off, or fire just goes in another way, and you are not affected. Your home is not burned, you see. So this in fact is a play of karma, you see. So and we quite can understand in this advanced world, especially in a developed country like America, Australia, it's a very advanced country, the technology-wise, money-wise, is like almost no problem, you see. Especially, no problem. And the professionals, truly well-trained, but then this fire crisis is like overwhelming all the time, and getting worse and worse, like in Australia, in America, like that. You see, everyone trying very, 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 very hard, but things are not getting better, you see. And from Buddhist point of understanding, the main problem of such crisis, or any crisis, is very much lies on the karma. The karma has to be purified. And when we talk about purification of karma, for one's own benefit, yes, one individually can purify. And as I mentioned the story before, that you can be in the middle of the fire, but then you are not affected. if you are consistent in practicing, purification of the past karma, that any negative actions that I have committed from beginningless lifetime, that in relation to the harm that will result, to experience the pain in relation to the fire, So if we, daily, engage in the purification practices, unless there are some definite karmic results, but then even if there's unless if there's a definite karmic result, otherwise, any karma can be purified. You see, like in the Vinaya, Buddha himself stated that there is not even one single negative karma that cannot be purified. There's not even one single negative karma that cannot be purified. Even heinous crime can be purified if we engage in the purification practice, like such as using the four opinion power practices. So even in the definite karma, the distraction that one may go through, very minor, you see. So it's still so much benefit. But in order to have the safety of the entire town, entire places, or in the form of country, or in the form of, particular suburb, then the entire people of the suburb, because the existence of the suburb, the village, is the collective karmic result. So the betterment of the, that particular village is dependent on the collective karma, that which has to be contributed individually, then come into collection in the form of purification, in the form of the prevention, like that. You see. So if we do not want the whole country, whole state to not to go through such events, then every single people have to, beside all the action that need to implement, the professional, the way to overcome. But the most important thing that lies is, on top of that, purifications of the negativities. The first. So for that, first we have to accept. First of all, we need to accept the understanding of the karma. How the causality, the fact of the existence of the causality. Then only we have the basis where we can engage into the purification practice. Without that, it's not possible, isn't it? You see. Mm, mm, mm. So you see, even any obstacle that comes in our way, the moment we think of the karma, it helps to ease the anxiety. It makes so much easier to accept and fight for it. You see, so there's no denial. So denial can be a big problem. To bring about the cure. You see, so karma is so beautiful, so beneficial. Any bad things that comes in our way, first thing is console ourselves by the wisdom of the fact of the karma. You see, that itself will show so many open ways, how to challenge and how to overcome, the adversities that that we need to face it. Like that. Including death. Including death. When we come near to the death, when death is, our on the tips of our finger, then in order to have a sense of, peaceful final resting, the first is the acceptance. You see, the actual fact of why after birth need to die is because of karma. If there's no karma, no need to die. You see, when you purify the karma, then you achieve the immortal death. No more death. You see, you get absolute, immortal life. You see, no more death. So, yeah. Okay, so I read again. Harms are seen as adversities and obstacles by those unfamiliar with dharma. Very, very, very strong statement, Harms and adversities are obstacles by those unfamiliar with dharma. So now you examine ourselves. We each and every one of us, we read this line, examine ourselves. Did I know dharma up to today? No question about how many challenges that comes in our way. Just from this morning up to now. Emotional, physical discomforts, maybe some challenging news. Maybe you got a nasty phone calls, nasty emails. Or just simply no reason, just get upset. Simply no reason, feel so moody, feel so down. It's very rare to find one person say that, whole morning is bliss out. Like, wow. It's like the best part of my life. The most joyous, most meaningful. You ask me? No, I didn't have that kind of morning. Why? Didn't understand dharma. Not familiar with dharma. That's the reason. That's the answer. Nothing else. Nobody put me into that position. You have the full capability. Full basis. This human intelligence, this human mind, to really, live this whole morning, maximum meaning, maximum joy. Whether you are doing something or you're not doing anything. Maybe you're doing just some small thing. Maybe just making coffee. You have nice coffee for your breakfast. Or maybe you have nothing except maybe one apple for your lunch. Doesn't matter. But you just feel, wow. You feel full of blessings. Your entire system of the mind is either that mind in the old age body, or in the youthful body, or sick body, or healthy body, but then your mind is like completely bliss out. And unable to do that because of one formula, one very important formula is missing, because that is unfamiliar with the dharma. Unfamiliar with the wisdom of emptiness, and unfamiliar with the wisdom of altruism. Because of that, you see. So in another word, because of not being familiar with altruistic wisdom or altruistic mind. This is quite true, isn't it? It's true, isn't it? You see? Maybe some of you, maybe you live in the best weather, purest air. Your refrigerator is full of food. You have, secure shelter, and your health okay. There's no pain here, pain there. You're okay, and you have even complete family. But still, something is like empty. Something is not enough. You're still not satisfied. You still feel low. Why? Everything is perfect. Why still? Because of not familiar with the dharma. Because our mind is unfamiliar with the dharma, unfamiliar with the emptiness, wisdom, unfamiliar with the bodhichitta mind. That is the answer. Okay. So now, each time, from now on, I'm not forcing you. I'm just suggesting, and especially I'm telling myself, from now on, whenever you feel down, just simply get reminded by this line. Hey, you better be familiar with the dharma. Why you are not enjoying your life? Because of you are not familiar with the dharma. Okay, so now just a simple technique. Sometimes I use for myself. I try to, have like in the past, especially like when I'm in Sarah, try to put text everywhere. Dharma text everywhere. In the even on the pillow there, at the table there. Everywhere, like around your reachable, everywhere, and many different texts. Doesn't matter, not one particular text. All Dharma texts. And yeah. So whenever there's a kind of empty feeling, down, sadness, immediately just pick up the book and open. Doesn't matter. Don't even have the struggle of needed to put one extra effort of need to find the page that which you have read before. No, even that may be obstacle. Just simply open it and read whatever comes in your eye. First line, middle line, doesn't matter. Just read it, few lines. So helpful. Then if you are staying alone, you play the instead of like songs. Maybe for some people, maybe song is good, okay, but now we are talking about dharma here. Play, for me, I used to play like His Holiness Dalai Lama's teachings, the lectures, all the recording. Just simply play loudly. Like wherever the area that you move around, that you still can hear the sound, brings so much peace. And whenever your mind start to get affected, negatively, that sound of the teaching remind you to give extra attention to the teaching, and that teaching can be in any topic. Just that few line, just purify that unhappy mind and bring immense of joy, immense of somehow that your heart is like filled with the positive energy. It's amazing. Well, I don't know how whether it works with everybody or not. That works for me. And eventually nowadays you use phone and iPad, all these like almost like inseparable. Nowadays I hardly even if I'm traveling, I hardly even take any text. So very much everything in iPad, you see. So so your iPad is like your Dharma library, you see. So just open, and in the book library, you don't even need to kind of search one particular book. Since there's so many books, just click to some one book and just read one line. Doesn't matter, it helps. It helps, you see. So then, of course, those who are already well habituated in Dharma, then of course, you don't need any that kind of external kind of reminder. Immediately you have this Dharma wisdom arises in your mind, then you're happy. You see, so usually, like when I request someone to be happy, or just sending some greetings, I say, please be happy with the Dharma wisdom. With the Dharma wisdom, because with the Dharma wisdom, you really can be happy, even in the very painful physical situation or environmentally, you are going through a crisis. But in Dharma wisdom, you can elevate from there. You see, so so simply meaning be familiar with the Dharma, in the difficult time, you get help. You see. Yeah, you can get all the other helps, like friendship, family support, all these are wonderful, but ultimate, most beneficial, to really to gain the sustainable, inner help to secure the inner peace, and get full protection from, day-to-day emotional sufferings, or the, not to get affected by the environmental adversities, is the familiarity with the Dharma. In particular, familiarity with bodhichitta and emptiness. You see, so that. So harms are seen as adversities and obstacle by those unfamiliar with Dharma. You see, so those who are familiar with Dharma, harms and adversities are not obstacle. In fact, it's so beneficial. Because adversities and harm givers and harms for the people who understand Dharma, in fact, it helps to strengthen, improve, their wisdom and their altruism. You see, so it's like even in a common word of saying, like, if you are immune to the harm givers, then, if you are immune to the harms, the harm cannot harm you. I don't know whether my English correctly said or not. One of my family member asked me, asked me, he say, is your weakness your family members? I say, no. And then, but he say, if any family kind of not so happy with you, I say, it will affect you, it will make you feel that you are not loved. I say, no. I say, if family members start to hate me, I say, I think I will be happier. I say, so I was just jokingly saying that, so that I don't have to have such a heavy responsibility towards, my, for the rest of the family. If you don't like me, if you hate me, then I'm freedom. I'm totally free. So if you love me as a family, oh, thank you very much, wonderful. But even you hate me, you still want wonderful. So no difference. You see. So similar goes to the friends. If the friends loves you, friends care for you, oh, wonderful, beautiful. But the friends start to hate you, it's also okay, wonderful, no problem. For you, no problem. You see. So the imbalanced emotion, very much comes due to, heavy, infusions of negative emotion, the grasping, in particular grasping of, self and others. You see, there's so much self-grasping, self-cherishing, like that, you see. So the lesser that you bring about them, then the wisdom of emptiness and wisdom of altruism, the attitude of altruism start to manifest, get more and more obvious. So in the eyes of the wisdom of emptiness, in the eyes of the attitude of altruism, bodhichitta, every single living being, whether it's enemy or the loved one, is totally beautiful, same. All are attractive. You see, there's no unattractive at all. You see, so similar way, when you have these two methods, the wisdom and attitude, altruistic wisdom and attitude, then uh, uh, and have the what do you call the practice of taking, transforming them into the development of these two, wisdom and altruism, then all the adversities, become beneficial. All the obstacles, that you used to believe as obstacles, all become beneficial. You see. So how wonderful, isn't it? How wonderful! How wonderful if all the adversities you feel like they are beneficial to you. That's so wonderful, isn't it? That's a great liberation. You see. It's almost like you are shielded from any harms. You see. Mm. But for someone who has entered the gateway of Dharma, the master said, they are exactly like what Chekawa explained to Shabo Gangba. What he said is, if someone possesses mind training, all of this physical illness and mental suffering is a skillful means through which the teacher and the three jewels bestow their blessing and higher attainments. You see, it's not gurus and the Buddhas and triple gems, give you pain, give you suffering, give you obstacle. It doesn't mean that. Because suffering and adversities open your heart to see the the actual characteristic of the negativities, a characteristic of the suffering and the form, suffering and its causes. It opens our ignorance. It opens our eye. You see, if you open your eye, if you start to see the true color of the suffering, true colors of its causes, negative emotion and the karma, then you start to cultivate the antidote. Then you start to actualize the liberation. You see, so without seeing their true color, true definition, you will never renounce them, isn't it? So suffering and the obstacles in life is the main cause to enter to the path to enlightenment, because sufferings and the problems in a life is the reason that you gain renunciation. As I mentioned before, what means path? Path means renunciation. You see, so without gaining renunciation, liberation is not possible. So where the renunciation comes? The renunciation comes because there's a suffering. Because there's a suffering, you see, like that. And even when Buddha first turned the wheel of Dharma, he taught the Four Noble Truths. Within the Four Noble Truths, he taught the first, the understand the suffering. The suffering is to be understood. You see, the first teaching is taught to the disciple is, in order to actualize liberation, first you need to understand the nature of suffering. It's what suffering is. You see, then only you will put effort to eradicate its causes. By eradicating the causes of the suffering, what you achieve is the liberation. You see, so therefore, when suffering and obstacle comes, in a Buddhist way of thinking. So this is the blessing of the Buddha, blessing of the Guru, but if this don't explain clearly, some people may think, oh, Guru Buddha gives me suffering. And because of these teachings are introduced, but if they didn't explain openly or clearly, therefore there are many Buddhist practitioners say, after I practice dharma, then I am full of problem in life. Therefore, I don't want to practice. Many to say that. Even after practicing 20, 30 years later, start to claim that before I practiced dharma, my life was good. After I practiced dharma, so many obstacles came in my life. Something is wrong. Then many deity yoga practitioners, tantric practitioners, they think, oh, after I receive initiation, after I practice tantra, my life is so stressful because of the sadhana, the commitment need to do. Then I cannot balance my commitment with my family responsibility, this and that. That's so much, until some of the practitioners become so stressed up, it even does affect the mind. You see, and that is because of didn't understand the actual meaning of the dharma. It's very much you went on to ritualistic only point of view, or just simply kind of in the air, kind of superstitious way, receive initiation, superstitious way, you do kind of like sadhana, superstitious way you practice the deity yoga practices, and then instead of gathering the realization, you gather full of superstitiousness until that you become the worst confused person. So you see, so similar. Here, the whatever commitment that we are given, whatever how much time that we need to invest to practice, is taking our life onto path, onto path of developing wisdom and developing altruism. That's why whether it's tantric, high tantric practice, whether it's sutric practice, if this true flavor of altruism is missing, dharma is missing. You may be carrying the name of high tantric practitioner, or advanced retreater, or great scholar. So even among the there are great debater, philosophy, wow, but then mentally disturbed. There are when need to chant, when need to read, when need to explain, wow, superb, but then mentally disturbed. You see, they are like that. You see, the reason is you miss the actual flavor, the main flavor of the Buddhist philosophy, main flavor of the Tantra, main flavor of the Sutra, main flavor of any form of your practices, which is the true altruism, emptiness and bodhichitta. Because of that, all trouble may come in our way. You see, so so you see, so if we have a correct understanding, then yes, everything becomes blessing. The more commitment that you receive, wow, you are the most fortunate one. The Guru give you the more the commitment. I remember some of the practitioners receive commitment from their Guru, even if they do daily for a few lifetime. Also, the commitment cannot finish. The amount of commitment is unbelievable. But if you think from the dharma understanding, to whom the Guru, to whom that you regard as omniscient, in your spiritual practice, whether the Guru from his side is omniscient or not, but from the spiritual relationship, he is more than omniscient. He is more than the Buddha in his kindness. You see, so therefore, the commitment that you have established with the Guru in relation to the practice that you have received is very much kind of designating or confirm that few lifetimes, that no doubt that you will have a precious human rebirth, that which will never be separated from perfect Mayani Guru. In another way, the you and that spiritual master relationship will never be interrupted by any form of circumstances for many, many lifetimes. Wow, this is absolutely blessing. It's not something to freak out because of wow, so stressful, so much commitment. You see? If you think the other way, it's like the greatest blessing that, greatest opening your eye. You see? So then if you understand that way, you gain diligence, you gain aspiration, you feel joy when you do the practice. You see? So similar way, when the Guru teaches us, every Dharma start with the teaching of the Four Noble Truths. Buddha himself did that. Basically, any form of the Dharma teaching is not separated from the teaching basis on the Four Noble Truths, which is very much, making the Dharma pupil to understand the suffering, and teach how to purify the suffering. And one of the best technique is taking the suffering onto the path to the true altruism, onto the path to enlightenment. You see? So therefore, in that teaching, then the suffering and the adversities are never obstacle, to our practice. It is absolutely a blessing. And it is not only the blessing of generally, but it is a blessing of your Guru and blessing of the Triple Gem. So that's what it is. It says, so whenever adversities falls onto us, think that it is a blessing of your spiritual teacher and the Buddhas, the refuge, So just simply thinking that immediately, it remind us, what remind us? Remind us to not to, disturbed by the problem that comes in our way. Rather, is remind us to take this problem that you are experiencing, take that onto a path to enlightenment. You see, so when you think of it is a blessing of Buddha and Guru, we have to remember that. We have to remember that, I must take this obstacle to the path in cultivation of emptiness and bodhichitta, which is the path to enlightenment. Therefore, you should transform all circumstances into factor conducive for training in the awakening mind, bodhicitta and emptiness. This has two parts: training in the true awakening mind, the extraordinary thoughts, and the B, striving in the dual practice of accumulation and purification, the extraordinary activities. So there's two ways of training. The first one, training in the true awakening mind, extraordinary thoughts. So you see, so what it really means is that, let's say, any problem comes in your way, you view that problem, you analyze that problem of its absolute nature, meaning try to see the emptiness of that problem. You see, using the emptiness investigation. You see, analyze, try to see the cause and effect, the interdependent, the conventional aspect of the adversity, and while you are analyzing that, while you're understanding, it is byproduct of its causes, at the same time you see it is ultimate nature, which is voidness of intrinsic existence, or inherent existence, true existence, and you try to see the absolute nature of not finding, uh, substantial, intrinsic, inherent, true existence of such obstacle, such problem in that situation, in that place, in that being or whatever, you see. So if you have a kind of a wound on your hand, then first you try to examine it. It is in a conventional, the dependent arising aspect. Okay, this is the it doesn't just pop up. It is the byproduct of past negative causes and causes like this karma and delusion. Okay, for that, I need to find cure, such as antiseptics, medicines, whatever. But in actual reality, in actual ultimate fact, this is just simply concept of my mind. It's just simply projection of my mind. There's no inherent, that wound on the basis on the physical aggregate. It also non-existent out of that physical aggregate, and that also not existent within that wound. That is not existent without that wound. So in fact, it lies the nature of absolute losing of its own identity of inherent, inherent or intrinsic identity, right there. You see. So with the help of the analysis, both conventional, and ultimate, truth. That way, it bring about the relative cure to the wound by you engaging with the proper antidote of medicine, but then absolute understanding emotionally, you are free of suffering in relation to that wound. You see. So simply referring or simply analyzing with the eye of wisdom of emptiness itself bring about immense of purification of its causes, the karma and delusion, and that naturally become the cause to liberation. You see. So so when you transform train your mind with the conventional awakening mind, then that is the dealing with the bodhichitta. So you can engage the practice of Tonglen. You see, the wound, on this wound, on the suffering that experience in relation to this wound, then take all the rest of the suffering of other sentient being, such and the rest of the other sufferings, onto the main root cause of why I have to experience this wound. Is because of my past negative karma and negative emotion. And the root cause is ignorance, which is the self-grasping ignorance and self-cherishing ignorance. So therefore, all this suffering of all sentient beings take on to that. You see. So then the cure, the merit, the whatever you accumulate through these practices, including past, present, future merit, you offer to the rest of the sentient beings. So this is how to train the true awakening mind, the extraordinary thoughts. Then striving in the dual practice of accumulation and purification. Then the second one is, you take an example, the pain of wound, as in the form of practice of purification. Understanding the karmic consequences, the byproduct of past karma and delusion. Then, since it is the result of definite karma, so therefore now I'm experiencing it. Then with this, may all the past, present, future, negativities of myself, rest of the other sentient being, purified in these experiences. Then again, in the practice of the altruistic, any form of practice in relation to altruistic, you dedicate the merit for the benefit of the rest of numberless sentient beings. In that way, you accumulate merit like that. So it says, the training in the true awakening mind, the extraordinary thought in the text is, it says, taking adverse condition on the path of enlightenment by means of training in the conventional awakening mind. It says, taking adverse condition onto the path by means of the conventional awakening mind is taught first. So how does one take this adverse condition onto the path? So reflect like this. Since beginningless time, I have failed to distinguish between enemies and friends. As a result, I have failed to recognize what is to be relinquished and what is to be adopted. Friend and enemy here, not talking about the our usual way of human friend and human enemy. Here, the friend is the attitude of cherishing others. Enemy is the self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude. Talking about that, I have irate because whatever spiritual practice I may have pursued have all been endure of self-grasping. You see, because of not knowing what to be adopted and what to be abandoned, because of that, then whole life oneself been servicing to the enemy, which is the self-grasping attitude. Whatever we do, we do to fulfill the urge of attachment, fulfill the anger, pride, jealousy, etc., etc. So in short, fulfill the endure of self-grasping. I've come to closer to establishing familiarity with the liberation, the Buddha's omniscience. I have come no closer to establish familiarity with the liberation and the Buddha's omniscience. So because of being a servant to the pleasing of self-grasping, therefore, look at it, my condition right now, no closer at all to omniscient Buddhahood, no closer at all even to the liberation. There's no question about closer to become Buddha. So because of that, because of servicing self-grasping attitude, because of falling according with the because of following our day-to-day actions according with the guidance of ignorance and delusion, that's why why I am still in samsara. Today I shall therefore differentiate enemy from friend and shall ensure the success of my dharma practice. So today, so now the time comes, you see, so must make sure who is enemy and who is not enemy. You see, so enemy is self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude, and friend is the altruistic mind, the cherishing of well-being of all sentient beings. So now my own self is the enemy. So it's not talking about I am myself is the enemy. Many people do misunderstand here. And many people, even after learning Buddha Dharma for a long time, they still ask a question: why in Buddhist practice that you look down on yourself? You don't care about yourself. You don't love about yourself. No. Total misunderstanding. You see, love, kindness, compassion, generosity, everything starts from you. You see, in particular, Mayanic Dharma is a concern of the benefit of all sentient beings. And you are, unless Buddha, then you are out. If you are not Buddha, if you are still sentient being, ordinary person, you are definitely included within the numberless sentient being. So it's so like that, So as long as you care for the well-being of numberless sentient being, you are one of them. If you only care for your own benefit and purpose and reject rest of the others, that meaning you are servicing self-grasping, servicing self-cherishing. Okay, so now my own self is the enemy. Self-grasping and self-cherishing is the enemy, and sentient beings are the friend. The cherishing of the numberless sentient beings' well-being, which also include yourself inside there, also are the friend. You see, so other than viewing my own self as an enemy and relinquishing myself, the viewing others as a friend and cherishing them, nothing else to be done. You see, so other than viewing my own self as my enemy and relinquishing myself, so you see, so the best way is you cherish all numberless sentient beings. You see, as long as you cherish all numberless sentient beings' well-being, the self-cherishing naturally start to dismantle, start to purify it. You see, so the smart way, the best way, easy way, how to develop the cherishing of all numberless, how to purify self-cherishing attitude is for you to practicing cherishing the well-being of all numberless sentient beings. As long as you do that, then the negation, the negativity will be naturally and start to purify it. Okay, so I stop here. Thank you. Yeah, so so for this week, on the basis of the usual homework, until we become Buddha, trying our best daily to practice, meditate, learn on bodhichitta and emptiness. Then on top of that, then you just add, varieties of other practices. So for this week, we can basically whatever situations comes in our way, emotionally, physically, environmentally, try to take that onto the path to enlightenment. Simply meaning, try to understand those situations with the eye of emptiness, wisdom eye of emptiness, and try to interpret, try to take those experiences as a form of expressions of your bodhicitta. So this is our homework. If any goodness come, also like that. In particularly any negative situations arises in our way, try to do that. So then try to secure, our positive mind, inner peace, even how challenges are going around, with the wisdom of dharma, or being familiar with the mindfulness in emptiness understanding and bodhicitta understanding. Okay, so thank you very much. So we dedicate whatever merit we accumulate individually, collectively, through this session, and also merits, virtues accumulated by all the past, present, future Buddhas, gurus. May it be a complete cause to rest of the numberless sentient beings to purify the common suffering of samsara and individual suffering of individual realms, individual beings, and actualize from temporary happiness up to the ultimate happiness of enlightenment. May this collective merit be a complete cause to eradicate the adversities that happening in this world, such as the pandemic crisis. May this collective merit be a complete cause, through this intense inconvenience from pandemic to each and every single human being in this planet, and it bring about the understanding of the wisdom and compassion to each and every one, and able to purify, all the negative habits that individually have, like such as strong self-cherishing, self-grasping, jealousy, pride, taking advantage, harming others. Whatever negative thoughts and negative actions that people are cultivating, since whatever crisis that we are going through is the result of that. So as I mentioned before, the main, on top of having vaccine and all the other science and medical help, the root cause need to be purified. And also, as mentioned before, just one person working is beneficial for one person, but everybody need to work. to purify the collective, purification. So may this merit be cause for that. May this collective merit be complete cause for all the world leaders, the leaders of the organizations, the leaders of family, companies, whatever, or even to yourself, who you lead your own life. Always have a mindfulness in the practice of, unconditional love, kindness, compassion, generosity, patience, forgiveness, understanding, wisdom, so that the fellow members, fellow people can able to enjoy, immense of positivities and happiness. May this quality merit be complete cause for those of people specifically, requesting prayers from me, from you. May this quality merit be complete cause for them to, fulfill all their aspirations, wishes accordingly. And also dedicate, may this quality merit be complete cause for those who pass away, in particular last 49 days, whether it's human, whether it's animal, or it can be anyone, to purify the suffering of their hallucinational disturbances through intermediate state, through the death process and through the intermediate state, and be the cause to actualize perfect, higher, positive rebirths. May this collective merit be complete cause for best of health, long life, successful in all the virtuous aspirations, to all the good people like His Holiness Dalai Lama, Gyaltsab Lama Supreme Rinpoche, and all the other spiritual gurus and people there who are source and happiness of world, source and happiness of organization, source and happiness of the company, source and happiness of your family and yourself, your family and yourself, to always enjoy perfect health, long life, and fulfill all your virtuous aspirations accordingly. And finally, we dedicate this quality merit that, as what we learned today, to stay intact, always with peace of mind, positive mind. So the way is that always be familiar with the dharma. Our mind is always stay full mindfulness in the dharma, in bodhichitta and in emptiness. And try to secure in our day-to-day life in most positive and most beneficial way for yourself and for rest of the family and for rest of the sentient beings. Okay, thank you very much. And please take care, stay safe, and stay positive. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.